We finally got a little microphone. Look at it, it's so cute. Welcome back, goblins, and thank you for tuning in. I'm a person with dissociative identity disorder, and I am an alter who doesn't really have a name right now. Today, I wanted to talk about one of our frequently asked questions, which is how do alters get their names? And yes, we did make a video like this a few years ago, but that was like 7 years ago, I think. We looked very different, and we have some new updated things to add into this, so we figured we'd just remake this one. Now, there's a variety of ways that alters can get names, and we have some interesting ways of finding names for alters. But names aren't necessarily required for dissociative identity disorder. We've seen quite a few people with dissociative identity disorder who refer to their alters as numbers. There's another system on YouTube where they have alters like 4, 4A, 4B, 5, 6, etc. Sometimes this may represent the ages that the alters are mentally, or it could simply be for sake of ease, knowing who is who by numbers. Now, the host can sometimes choose the names for the alters. We've seen this happen quite a few times where the host will choose the names for their alters, and it simply works out well for them. The alters may choose to change their names later on, but that really varies by system. All of this is highly individualized. Like, there are no two people with DID who will be exactly the same. The host may find it useful to look up lists of, like, baby names, for example, go down the list and see which names would fit their alters the best, and then go from there. But this isn't always the case. Sometimes the alters will simply appear and already have their names. They'll be like, hey, I'm so and so. And everyone is like, oh, well, hello there, welcome. That's kind of how it goes sometimes with us. Some alters will already know their names, or they'll have some sort of title that is related to their role. That's the boat that I'm in right now, personally. I don't really like my title. It's really related to the trauma, and currently I'm in the process of finding myself a new name. I'm thinking maybe like Anton or Todd. I don't know. I'm still working on it. I recently resurfaced. I'm an alter from our early childhood trauma. A lot of us like that are showing up these days, and I guess that's an improvement. It's better than staying buried for forever, like I had been doing. But oftentimes, alters do choose their own names. They may have a name in mind that really resonates with them, or they may be able to find a different name if they have one that doesn't suit them. Now, this isn't saying that if your alters don't have names, you don't have DID, because oftentimes alters don't have names. They could have titles like the Angry One, or the One Who Holds the Trauma, or things like that. And that's perfectly fine. We ourselves went through a stage when we were first discovering that our alters were existing, where they were referred to as numbers. It was Roman numerals like 1 through 8, I think. I don't know. That was back when we were like 14. But over time, those alters did choose new names for themselves, and we only have a couple who have numbers as their names. Don't know if they want to keep it that way, but I think one of them definitely does. And then the way that our fusions find their names is actually really unique and different from how most of us find our names. It's almost like reverse sigils. If you're into paganism, you'll kind of know what I mean. If you are trying to create a sigil, you'll have the intention written out, and then if there are letters that occur in more than one of the words, you'll cross out those letters and then create your shape using the remaining letters. We do the reverse of that with fusions. We'll have their names in a list, and then the letters that are seen in more than one of the names will be the ones that are used to create the new name. So that's why some of them will end up with strange names like Forodox or Radian. That's the newest one. Because a lot of the fusions are kind of like creating something new out of something pre-existing. So their names kind of reflect that. It helps for all of the parts that were involved in that fusion to still be seen and remain part of us. And some of them, like Father Randall, will just put the two names of the fused alters together. He was a fusion of two alters named Father and Randall, and he might post that little intro short that he made. I don't know if he's going to do it or not. We'll see. But sometimes the fusions can't really solidify until those names are created. It doesn't really feel like they're there until they have their names. We're probably kind of an outlier with that, but that's kind of how we've always worked. Our alters kind of need to have names so that we can differentiate between them. Because a lot of us do have similar roles or similar energies, so it's easy to get mixed up with us because there's just so many alters here. The names really help in our case, though it may not be the same way in every case. Some alters do thrive off of having names that are more of titles. Some of us are that way. A case like this could be seen in the book When Rabbit Howls. We highly recommend this book, even though it is very triggering. It's a really good book, and this woman was even seen on Oprah. Like, freaking awesome. They're one of the earliest cases we've seen of someone using a system name. They refer to themselves as the Troops. They have since passed away, but their story certainly lives on. So there are a variety of ways that alters can get names. You can choose a name for them, they can choose a name for themselves, they can simply arrive knowing their names, or, like in our case with fusions, you can create an entirely new name for them using the names of the previous alters that were there. Their names could be numbers, their names could be a title that connects to their system role, or it could just be a name that they really enjoy or that fits them well. And it doesn't have to be something bland like Bob or Joe. I know a lot of people think it's strange to have alters with names that are very unique, but honestly, we've seen that very frequently. It's a very case by case kind of a thing. So if you have a different way of finding names for alters that I haven't mentioned, please feel free to leave them down below, along with any questions you may have. And sorry for not posting for a few weeks. We got our new job. We finally got a new job. It wasn't the one that we applied for, but it is in an office, which is a completely different setting than the jobs we've had before. And I think we might make a little video on what it's been like to work in an office with DID, because there are a few unique challenges and some solutions that we've had to come up with for that. So once more, if your alters do not have names, that doesn't mean that you are less valid as someone with DID. Alters don't always have to have names. Sometimes you can function perfectly fine without. Some of us don't even want names, but it makes it a lot easier to tell who is who. And if you have any stories you'd like to share about how your alters may have found their names, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Because we can only speak for our own experiences and things that we've seen, not for everyone's experiences. So thanks again for watching. Please like and comment to support the channel. Subscribe if you'd like to become a goblin and join the Gob Squad. And we'll see you all in the next video.